You can tell a lot about a person from their name. One of the things I found so interesting was that recently there was a conference here in New Orleans, Mayors Against Anti-Semitism, and it was all these different mayors, multicultural, multi-ethnic, mayors from all around the country, the United States, coming together under the banner of anti-Semitism, which is actually a thinly veiled agenda for social domination and control. Unfortunately, it's a lot easier to get people behind a cause when it seems like it's a good cause and it's helping people and it's justice oriented than if they were to tell them the truth, which is that this is a movement designed to squash dissent, any type of political dissent, under the guise that it's anti-Semitic, that it's harmful to a specific group of people, even when it's coming from that specific group of people, even when it's coming from Semitic people who are saying, hey, stop killing us, stop stealing our land, stop disenfranchising us, stop keeping us from our positions of destiny so that your kids can have our destiny. It's not their destiny, it's ours. And you wouldn't think it would be such a big problem, but the thing is that this is an ancient bloodline vendetta with one specific family, the Rothschild family, who has installed their descendants all over the world to like monitor, stalk, usurp from other people. It's not like we don't know who's doing it. And the thing is, like, people think, oh, white people are colonizers, white people are slave masters, white people are oppressors. These people are multi-ethnic, and they have been for a long time. And the really interesting thing, the point of this video is Google the Rothschild family. Look at how many of them, especially in previous generations, had the middle name Mayer, like John Mayer, M-A-Y-E-R, Mayer. Look up what it means and tell me, because back in the day, people had occupational surnames. Their name said what they did. For example, my real name means the one who calls people to prayer to foster businesses. Hello, it's what I do. The one who calls the people to prayer to foster businesses. Your name says what you do, or it would, typically. So what I realized when looking at these pictures, because I've become an ancestral healing expert with my work with clients, I've worked with all different ethnicities, all different nationalities, all different religions, all different ancestors. I'm ancestors baby. I'm mixed with every bloodline. So I have a unique perspective to be able to see into these things. And because of how I have stewarded my gifts and how I have used them ethically, and I've always had a commitment to excellence, a commitment to ethics, and a commitment to integrity with my work against all odds, ancestors trust me. Spirit trusts me with the work that I do. So I'm privy to a lot of information that a lot of people aren't privy to because they haven't had this experience. They don't do what I do. So I was just looking at these people's faces and these pictures. I was looking at the people attending the mayor's conference. I was looking at the people named mayor in the Rothschild's family. And I was just realizing these mayors are related to them. They're all related. And this is what people don't really understand about how lineage works, about how slavery works. First of all, slavery comes from inside the family. Most people that are the main people most likely to sell somebody into slavery is their own parents, their own family members, especially if somebody's already a slave and they can give their child to get out of slavery. Don't you think that's happened? Sorry. A lot of the emotional stories that we've heard or we've been told, we've had put in front of our faces, they're not true. They're designed to emotionally energy harvest the people that are watching. It's not a coincidence. Everybody has a different experience. That's why, it's hard for a lot of people to hear me say that white people aren't to blame when they've had extremely negative experiences with white people. But the thing is, I have too, but I've had negative experiences with just about anybody that could access me, because that's what it is to be a chosen one. Your anointing is not free. And it comes with a lot of hatred, jealousy, and animosity. And stealing. Because they want your anointing and they don't have it themselves. And there's like an intergalactic colonization effort. Beings came to this planet seeking something, some feeling, some energy, some experience. And they don't care who they have to hurt or who they have to take it from, because they're not even from here. They don't care. When you look at these pictures of these Rothschilds, you can tell, like some of the old pictures, you can tell that's a black man, that's a black woman, that is a mixed person, that is not a white person. The origins of the structure of society are concealed. That's why you can't question them. Because if everybody knew about it, it wouldn't work as a tool of social control and domination. It relies on its foot soldiers within the empire to enforce that domination amongst the common people. That's how it works. So I just thought that was very interesting, and I wanted to share, because I don't know many people that could or would share this or notice this even in the first place. And I really wanted to know, like, what are you guys' thoughts? Have you guys been noticing stuff like this too? Because I feel like if anywhere I can talk about these things, it's with my audience that I've cultivated over the years and the people that are drawn to me. I just have been studying this. Like, I study people's faces. You know, a lot of people are trained in our society and culture to flatten the image of a person that they see within their cerebral cortex, within their visual processing centers. They basically, for expediency, for purposes of dealing quickly in business and in life, they kind of like flatten individuals into characters. Like, this is this type of person, this is that type of person, this is how I deal with this type of person, this is how I deal with that type of person. And for me, being mixed and being like quote unquote racially ambiguous, that's always been a thing in my life, where people have always like insisted on knowing what my race and ethnicity is. Almost like if they didn't know what I am, they don't know how to be with me. And I just found that very interesting. A lot of people have commented how you're so comfortable around black people. You're so comfortable around, like, when I see you walking around, it seems like you are in a dangerous area, but you seem comfortable. You seem like, people would think a woman like you should be scared to be here, but you're not. Why? I'm supposed to be scared? Okay, anyways. All right. I don't even know. So I'm not, and I never have been, because I've always been diverse, and I've always been interested in diverse experiences and diverse people. And what I found is what happens a lot of times when we're in those situations dealing with different people. Like, for example, when I first got around Jewish people and I first had the experience of being in a community where there were self-identified Jewish anti-Zionists who were telling me, like, yeah, I don't see this as a viable excuse to colonize and oppress and occupy and genocide Palestinians under the guise of of Zionism, and under the guise of Jewish people needing safety and needing a land for themselves. I don't see it as a viable reason. I don't see anti-Semitism as a very big issue, given the level of political, economical, social, and media power that Jewish people have currently. And I was like, whoa, like my mind was blown, because I had never heard that. I had never heard of that before, and I thought that these people hated us and they were always against us. So I was very impressed, but I shouldn't have been, because it's like, honestly, they get more opportunities to say their 2 cents, to speak on this, to be a social justice activist for Palestine, to go to Palestine, to be on the news about it, to have a fulfilling activist career on that platform, more so than Palestinian people do. And it's often used as a tool of like gaining social access, because yeah, there's such a thing as liberal Zionism. You know, you can't actually, like, in certain spaces actually be pro genocide. That's crazy. That's crazy. So there's like a soft way of doing it that people can justify, because they think that it's not that bad, and they think what they're doing is just asking for something that's theirs, that they're due. That's not actually the case. Like, that's never been a thing. You never get to go back where your ancestors fled from or left from or abandoned and say, hey, this is ours now, we want it back. That's never been a thing anywhere in the world. No one has ever been able to do that. That's why we have like these seas of generational refugees. That they're called homeless people. When you see homeless people, those are generational refugees. They've been generationally displaced. They don't get to go back home and say, hey, this is ours, get out of your house, this used to be my grandparents' house. That wasn't even the case. Like, I could literally say that. There's a house in Yaffa that used to be my grandfather's house. I could literally say, this is my house, get out. It's crazy. Why are you in the house in the first place? I saw a quote online from a woman who said she had come from Europe to Palestine, and they gave her a house, and she went in the house and she saw that the breakfast dishes still on the table from the people who had to flee because they said, get out of here or we'll kill you. And they gave the house to her, and she said, take me back to the refugee camp. I don't want this. I'm not going to be part of this. And she said that was my legacy, but so many others didn't make that choice. And I think about it with New Orleans. I live in New Orleans. This is a place where people here were forced to flee because of a fake natural disaster. Yes, the hurricane actually happened. No, the levee didn't accidentally break. They bombed it. People here heard the bomb blast, and then the entire 9th Ward and 7th Ward was flooded. People had to leave their homes, and then boom, all of a sudden, a whole bunch of people from all over the country, young people, Jewish people, white people, people of different races and ethnicities, but this is a primarily young white Jewish population that came here and was able to buy houses for cheap. It's not a hateful statement, it's just the truth. If you can't handle hearing the truth, you can't handle being an adult. You don't even have the right to make an adult decision like this. Like, whose land to live on? You're living on stolen property. You're not just living on stolen land, you're living in stolen property. And people died for that. And it's by design. That's the fucked up part. It's not a coincidence, it's not an accident, it's not a tragedy. It is a tragedy, but it's not an accident. It was planned. And we're supposed to be so afraid to even speak on this for fear that we'll lose our jobs, we'll lose our home, we'll lose our life. We can't even speak on it. What's the point of having a life if you can't even tell the truth?